Right, John, you're muted, John. I've told you 6 times now.
On wheels.
He's just chatting to himself. Look, hang on.
He sounds better like that, doesn't he?
Oh, dear. So all that knitting's gone through.
Fucking knitting. Did you hear about this, Rob? About the knitting? Right, John Wills hates the badge so much he's going to do this knitting. He's going to knit his own merchandise, and as you can see, he can't even work a phone. So what? I don't know. It's rudimentary skills.
It's going to be a very thin scarf then.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you sent John Wills a message?
There's a message. Oi, John. John.
We can't hear you, mate.
What, so we're having a few technical difficulties here, Gabe. One of our fellow fans, he's basically got sort of late stage dementia, and he can't unmute himself. So anyway, we'll crack into it in a sec.
Yeah.
Write it on a piece of paper and hold it in front of the camera.
Yeah, okay, hang on. I'll do it.
Good. That's what you need is German technology.
Yeah, I take.
Dirt technique.
See that? Where is it? John, twat. John, oh, he's gone.
He's gone.
Scared him off.
That worked.
Yeah, first of all, it gives me great pleasure. Episode 82 of the Roundtable, and we've got some big guests here this week. We've not only got Robert of the 10 German Bombers, German wing of the Hastings United Sports Club, but we've also got Gabe here from Enfield. Gabe, I know you're a program editor, but what other roles do you have at Enfield?
A little bit of everything, really. I do a little of a lot. Drummer on match days, take care of the website. I do their Instagram account. Now and again, I'll be in charge of Twitter as well, as was the case in a Middlesex Cup game yesterday. So yeah, wherever I'm needed, really. So
used and abused.
Enfield motorcycles.
What, Royal Enfields?
Yeah.
I don't know if they're made locally anymore, to be fair, or if they ever were made locally.
Probably
but,
made
yeah.
in Germany.
Yeah, I was going to say it's the Germans that nicked them, mate. You're doing everything. You're wearing many hats.
That's pretty much me. I mean, there's other people that do far more. Like they're at the ground almost 24/7. Like the kit man's a legend. People that have been there basically since day dot. But yeah, I've been there on a sort of voluntary basis for like the last sort of 3-4 years now, but been supporting them for the last sort of seven odd years. So
nice one. Okay, well, again, it's like like with all of these clubs, the volunteers are the reason why they keep going. There's so many fantastic people that give their time. We were just chatting with the Met Police a little while ago, Met Police team, and a gentleman come on, same as yourself, really. Many hats, makes the program, sells the program, does this, that, the other. It's a reminder, that we all love London League, but like so much of it is voluntary. Just great.
Absolutely.
First of all, we got Gabe on, so we want to talk Enfield. We're going to talk about how we think we're going to get on. And after yesterday, I'm still sticking with my prediction. Tell us about the club. Tell us about. I know you've had a great start to the season. Tell us who's going to scare the bejesus out of us on Saturday.
It depends in what sense. We've got some
not
big
the
old
supporters.
units.
Not
I was going to say
the players.
we got some big old units both in the stands and in the team. Actually, to be fair, now
so we've got a few big units, mate. I mentioned Gary, so.
In terms of physicality, I mean, we signed Lewis Knight on a month's loan from Margate, who's come in. He's done a job, to be fair to him, first 2 games. But it'd be sort of a bit unfair to say that he's sort of not performed or set the world alight. I think it's a bit too early. Did score in his debut though. But in terms of main threats, Jake Cass is a big sort of old school number 9. Does have a decent turn of pace on him as well. I think he's due a goal. Obviously from your point of view, hopefully that doesn't come on Saturday. I hope it does. He's that striker that will sort of work so many decent positions.
Mm.
You know, and he's a big fella, but he's, you know, without sort of resorting to cliches, you know, he's a big lad, but he has a decent touch, he has a good turn of pace, he can shoot from distance if need be. So he's, you know, he's our main sort of threat up front. But then we've got Andre Koku, who's come back into the team as well. You know, very nippy, very technically good. You know, likes to sort of shift the ball himself, and Lyle Della Verde as well, who has an absolutely just ridiculous record from set pieces. I think they are practically like penalties. He scored 2 at home to Herne Bay at the weekend. And the first one was from about 27, 28 yards. I mean, hopefully the highlights will drop soon, because the first one was from about 28 odd yards, and then he repeated the trick sort of second half as well.
Nice one.
So, I think that's number sort of 5 or 6 for the season already, which is just absurd.
Let's talk about the program. Let's talk about where we can all go for a beer. First of all, the program. I'm hoping it's a printed program.
Yeah, of course it is.
That's what I'm like. I'm liking that straight away. How much is it going to set me back?
£2.50.
Okay.
That'll get you usually sort of 36, 40 pages, you know, of hopefully half decent content. You know, you have a few contributors regularly. You know, obviously from our end, you know, we'll want to know about you lot. So, you know, hence, you know, me asking you guys for a little feature. So thank you very much in advance for that. And yeah, just sort of, I guess what, you know, the sort of bread and butter that you come to expect in terms of like, you know, we'll have a little bit about us, feature a little bit about you guys as visitors. You know, if we've met before, sort of club history, things like that. We'll have 1 or 2 sort of contributors from, you know, looking at sort of wider footballing issues. So it's a lot of work, but as with a lot, it's you know, it's a labour of love, I suppose.
No page 3 or page 7 fella or anything like that in there. No. No.
There hasn't been during my tenure as editor anyway. So I don't know if we have done in the past, but then you know, Ken, who was my predecessor for a long time, I don't think that was quite his route either, to be fair to him.
All right, Gabe. So where's it good to go for a beer before we come in the ground? Obviously, all of us that pop along, we will partake, you know, in your bar. But like, is there any decent pubs near the ground?
It's a tricky one. So it largely sort of depends on how you get into Enfield as well, because there's a couple of ways of doing it. If you go to Enfield Town Station, there are still a few sort of old school boozers in the town centre. So sort of Cricketers Arms, which is sort of right in the middle of town. You're sort of still talking about a 15-20 minute walk to the ground. But in terms of, you know, if you like that sort of pub, sort of old school boozer, then that's, you know, that's quite nice.
Is it a little bit out of the way then, your ground? Is it kind of
a tiny bit? Yeah. So it's it's about a sort of 15 odd minute walk from Enfield Town Station, and likewise from Southbury. So it's sort of, because we've been about for 20 odd years and we've been at that ground for about 10. And it's across the park from where the old Enfield FC used to play, sort of. So it's sort of nice in that sense, but it's not, you know, it's not sort of completely in the sticks. It's certainly still within sort of Enfield Town. But yeah, I guess sort of if you do want sort of that longer experience, you have to take the scenic route.
Yeah. So all right, and so for us gentlemen here, what's your beer selection like in the bar? Is it a decent one?
It's half decent.
Mean, it's not just Foster's, Carlin, and all this sort of rubbish.
We have got Foster's on tap, to be fair, but we do have New River beer, which is a sort of semi-local brewery. I think they're up in Hodston. So it's, you know, sort of a few miles up the road from us. So there, you know, we do have that as well, and I think we have some other ale on tap as well. But yeah, and there'll be other sort of drinks on offer as well behind the bar. So
nice.
Hopefully it's you know, hopefully it's not too sort of underwhelming for you guys.
Oh, don't worry, mate. We've got what do we do at our place, George? We do Foster's, don't we, Carlin?
Yeah, but the best one ale is in bottles, isn't it? So yeah.
So don't worry, we're not posh where we are.
Yeah. Well, at least it's not a dry bar, to be fair.
Yeah, it's true. Rob, you're obviously you're Bonn FC. What when you go to watch your boys in Germany, what's the bar like there?
Well, there is a bar outside the ground where we sometimes meet up, depending on what time the kickoff is, to have a few, and then we go to the ground. Because the catering at the ground isn't very good, to be honest. And there's only one kind of beer which I don't really like, and we keep trying to hook the guy in the bar into getting another kind of beer, and he says, "I won't get rid of it," and I say, "I will assure you." So far he hasn't brought it. So
is it called the Beacon Bar?
Oh.
Actually, it's called Optimil.
It sounds painful, that does.
Well, it can get painful if you don't watch what you're saying. But no, it used to be a bit rough, but it's really nice there now. It's a traditional Rhinish large pub, and they've got big screens there, and decent food as well, and a large variety of beers. So we quite often go there after the game, but in the ground itself, unless you're a VIP, which I'm not, the catering isn't very good, actually.
Okay, Gabe, I mean, is there anything you want to mention? Is there anything you want to plug about your Enfield? It's
strange. We're, you know, we've sort of been at our level for sort of 10 odd years now, but it's strange not having, I suppose, with COVID and everything else, not having faced any sort of new teams or teams that we haven't faced in a good while. So it's quite nice from our perspective, you know, not to sound too sort of buttering you lot up kind of thing, but it is quite nice having teams like Hastings back. I think, you know, good to have well supported teams as well, you know, and hey, it means another trip sort of relatively close to the seaside as well. So it's not
oh yeah, you love the trip up. You love the trip up to Hastings. There's lots of great the old town and everything. Great boozers. There's lots to check out. So
I just wanted to ask about Enfield, about them being a fan run club, and sort of how that works really. What's it like?
Yeah, I was going to say, sort of in terms of our club. I mean, because we sort of do pride ourselves on that. You know, we came. A lot of people sort of remember or sort of know that we came before Wimbledon in that sense. In fact, I think in our very first match day program, there was sort of what is now sort of looking back quite a surreal little note in the sort of, which is sort of you know, a group of disillusioned fans were looking to do sort of good luck to them, and obviously look at them now. So works in the sense of, so we have an annual membership scheme, so we have a supporters trust still, and I think it's £20 for adults still. And you pay that fee annually, and that is your, you know, that is your membership. You get sort of certain benefits with that as well. So sort of exclusive videos, and you know, you can have sort of, there's packages as well. You can have sort of access to a program every week and all the rest of it. But fundamentally, you know, that is your, you know, it's one member, one vote. So that is your sort of democratic platform, I guess, to vote on everything the club does. And you know, recently we've had sort of debates of you know, unfortunately we didn't go up last season, but, you know, there were plans in place, for example, should we have gone up, you know, to potentially put a new stand in place. And, you know, there's been debates about a 3G pitch of late. And, you know, so obviously, you know, we in terms of our nature and our ethos, we want to involve all of our fans in that as much as possible. So, yeah, that's essentially how. And, you know, I think membership's sort of creeping up to, I think, about 400 now, which isn't too bad. You know, obviously we want more sort of match going fans to have that stake in the club, but it's nice in that sense. And to be fair, we've expanded that to a few countries as well worldwide. We had a group of sort of Swedish football fans visit us recently as well, which was sort of surreal, you know, being able to again sort of let them know about a sort of little club in North London. So
we call it the German market. Yeah, we call it the German market, mate, all right.
Surely there's still one or two, but yeah, but no, it's nice in that sense. You know, you can sort of take a piece of the club sort of back with you almost.
Am I right in thinking there was more than one Enfield at one stage? So Enfield Town and United, is that right?
Yes. So it's a bit farcical. So our club essentially we formed in 2001 as a sort of essentially the sort of original, if you want to call it a Phoenix club or a breakaway, because the original Enfield, who were sort of perennial conference challengers, won the conference but didn't farcically get elected into the Football League back when it was election based in the 80s. You know, hence we sort of stuck it out in non-league, and then by the 90s our chairman sold the ground and we moved up to play sort of in all sorts of different places sort of around sort of the home counties and things like that. And forgive me because I'm going off on a tangent. So, you know, fans essentially set up a sports trust, formed the club, you know, and we broke away. However, the original club sort of limped on, went plummeting down the leagues, again, sort of lived a nomadic existence, and they actually went bust in 2007. Now, they've reformed, I think, twice now, but they did play on until 2007. So not only did we, as Enfield Town, face Enfield FC in our first sort of few years of existence, which was ridiculous. But the new club have sort of limped on in the Essex Senior League, and they're now in Bishop Stortford of all places, and they still have the sort of temerity on their social media to say hashtag only one Enfield, which is absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, and we actually could have faced them in the FA Cup last year, but they bottled their replay, unfortunately.
So this other Enfield, they're the ones that were in the knocking on the conference back in the 80s. Is that the ones you'd? I'm getting to something here, because back in the early 80s we played Enfield in the FA Cup.
Yeah,
I think it was first round proper, and I went to it, and I'm pretty sure we missed a penalty. If we'd have gone through, we'd have got Cardiff the next round.
Crikey! So
you didn't, because you beat us.
I feel as though most fans, certainly most Enfield Town fans, treat the original Enfield, sort of the one that folded in 2007, as our history. You know, the one we broke away from, but that we're the sort of, you know, the sort of the heart and soul of that club. Sort of, you know, even though the sort of club itself folded, the sort of heart and soul went with us.
It all sounds very familiar to most of us.
Yeah. So, you know, the club that are in Bishop Stortford sort of formed when they reformed in 2007. They called themselves Enfield 1893, but they've never sort of, you know, I think they played their first 4 years in Brimsdown, which is sort of in Enfield, and then they've sort of lived a pretty nomadic existence for a lot of that time. So, you know, and again, they've sort of limped on, they've reformed, they've never, you know, I mean, they've kept, I think I'm right in saying they've kept the original trophies, but in terms of any claim to history, that's about it. Really, you know, all of the original sort of people from that club, or at least the vast majority of them, went with us. It is, it's you know, sort of de facto it is with the Stortford club, but in terms of, you know, in terms of where most of the fan base went, and you know, the reason why we had sort of 200-300 through the gate at step 5 was because, you know, because most people from our old club went and supported the new Enfield Town.
Oh, well done.
Can you say a bit more about what happened? So you said the chairman sold the ground. And what was the politics around that situation, and how did you kind of rebuild to where you are, and with funding and things like that?
I'll probably gloss over a lot, you know, and there'll be sort of older people at the club who can explain it far more than me. But essentially, when the chairman, sort of Tony Lazaru, in the 90s took over the original Enfield, he had all these sort of grandiose plans about building a sort of big old leisure centre complex near the stadium, and sort of expanding the club and all the rest of it. And essentially, I think he ended up, there was sort of a convoluted process around sort of what was going to happen to the ground, and he ended up sort of, I think through a sort of ground sale, or sort of pocketing money in an escrow account or something along those lines. He essentially just sort of up sticks and disappeared, really. And it meant that we sort of essentially signed ourselves away to having to play in sort of Bishop Stortford and not Bishop Stortford, Boreham Wood and a few other places like that. You know, and I suppose part of the reason why our club formed was around the sort of dissatisfaction towards that, you know, that it wasn't, you know, essentially the Enfield had sort of died when that happened, really. In the first sort of 10 years of the new club's existence, we played at Brimsdown, essentially in, you know, we shared with, you know, with what were then Brimsdown, who then folded, about a mile or so away from where we currently play. But, you know, it was still sort of football within the borough, essentially. I mean, it wasn't our own home, but it was still, you know, it was still within the borough of Enfield, which was the sort of fundamental, really, from our point of view. So, you know, and then when the chance came to purchase what was then a sort of derelict athletic stadium, which is where we currently play, you know, and to refurb it. I think, you know, it was good timing with the Olympics sort of on the doorstep, because we moved in 2011, which was just before the London Olympics, so that helped as well. You know, and the sort of, obviously, unfortunately, a growing number of non-league clubs, you know, can talk about the sort of attachment that they have to, you know, in terms of the sort of fibre of their club to a home stadium, you know. But from our end, it's particularly sort of intrinsic, the fact that we, you know, there was always the need to sort of return football to the borough of Enfield, and we've been lucky in that sense that we can.
What sort of gates do you get then? What's your average gate roughly?
This season it's been down a little bit. I think it's partly because we're unfortunate to be affected by both Arsenal and Spurs, but particularly Spurs, and given that they're playing on Tuesday, Saturdays now, it's, you know, it's taken the gate down a little bit. Last season, I think the average was sort of 5, I think mid-5s, which, you know, for us wasn't too bad. That was up quite significantly on our last full season. I think this season, I should have read my statistics before coming on.
Don't you worry, it's all right.
I think it's sort of 400s. We did get about 670 for the Herne Bay game, but we had a sort of whole club event where we showcased all of our teams, you know, the women, the walking football, the disabilities team, the youth teams, which took the gate up quite nicely, you know, and it was quite a nice atmosphere. But yeah, generally sort of five if we have a good weekend, 4 on a run of the mill weekend. But hopefully, you know, if you lot take some sports with you, we'll have a nice decent gate in the
Spurs playing Sunday, so
yeah, that's true actually. Yeah, so hopefully you'll benefit from that as well.
Are you noisy? A bit of chanting going on?
Yeah, of course. That's something we pride ourselves on. You know, it's yeah, I don't actually have the drum with me, but there have been times where I've had to take the drum back, you know, to and from away games as well. So yeah, we
talk about drums in front of George.
I won't, but yeah, no, we do like to have a bit of a sing song and make a bit of an atmosphere, and yeah, give the keeper a bit of stick within reason. So
yeah, sounds very similar to us, that one.
Yeah, so hopefully that'll be the case Saturday.
Yeah, talking of the drum, just before you go, Gabe, I mean, we just played Billericay yesterday, and they wouldn't let us bring the drum in. There's no rule. Don't know why. Wasn't any housing near them, so we had to use a recycling bin. But George, you did an excellent job, George.
Yeah,
we improvise when you have to.
We recycle everywhere we go, mate.
Bin and people to stretch Chris's Y fronts across it to make the.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, Gabe, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for coming on. Hopefully catch up with you. Will you be selling the programs as well on match day?
I might be.
Or will you hand that over?
To be fair, there have been a couple of sort of loyal club shop members who have been doing it on my behalf this season, so it might well be them. But I'll see if I can catch some of you guys at the game.
Yeah, great. Get you a pint.
So I was gonna offer the other way, but yeah, why not both?
Yeah, exactly.
But thank you very much for having me. Cheers.
Yeah, that's cheers. Take care, Gabe. Yeah.
Nice. Cheers.
Cheers, Gabe.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
They seem like a nice lad.
Yeah.
Right in.
Well, you know what's going to happen now, don't we, Chris? Everyone you talk to turns out to be a wrong one, don't they? Everyone you talk to.
No, that's just that is the biggest fake news ever, mate.
You seem lovely, but anyone that comes on your podcast turns out
they either change sex, they either get FA inquiries, don't they?
There was the one that brought a gang tooled up after.
Oh yeah, that was it. Coked up. What were they?
Coked up, pulled up. What else did we have?
Yeah.
No,
I said all these people are really nice.
I don't know how George remembers it all.
No, it's difficult.
Got a little book, isn't it, George?
They got to start.
There has been quite a few of them.
He's got a pretty poor record.
Let's kick into this now. Obviously, first of all, Rob, it's fantastic you're on. It's been a while, sir. How are those 10 German bombers at the moment?
All right. Most of them go to Bonn on a regular base. We were last Saturday on a home game and we won. And we're stuck in the top 3 now. Top 3, top 4.
Okay.
And away game next Sunday. quite a traveling, like 60 miles or so. Yeah, finally getting their feet into the league. They had a bit struggle at the beginning, because it's always tough to be as a relegated team in the new league, where you're the biggest club by far, and everyone thinks you're Bayern Munich when you come, you know, and wants to beat you. So it's a cup atmosphere, especially in the villages. And yeah, well, you need to adapt to the new league. They seem to get their way around now.
Well, how many turn up, like, at your
well, on Saturday there were like 600.
Oh, excellent.
And I was expecting the gates to go down after the relegation, but in fact they've gone up a bit. We had to switch the ground last season because there was some refurbishing going on. We've got blue athletic tracks now, like in Berlin. Very good for the football. And yeah, so we moved to a ground south of Bonn, so at the opposite. And a couple of guys came to the games because it was around their corner where they lived, and they seem to have stuck with it. So travel up north now and come to our place. So the gates have gone up despite being relegated, which is quite cool.
Excellent. Well, glad you're well. I'm glad you're on. Just quickly, is any chance of you coming to watch a Hastings game this season?
Well, we were planning to come last weekend, but we cancelled that because I was in Hastings this summer. I don't know if John told you. Yeah. It was quite a hassle getting in. You know, 3 hours in Calais.
At
the
pilot field.
No, to the country.
I know.
To the country, yeah. No, more than 3 hours. We were checked like 4 times, and it was quite disturbing. So I thought just for a weekend, which was our plan to come for a weekend or prolonged weekend. If you don't know how long it's going to take at the customs, plus there could be the game off due to a cup game, and the game I was going to attend when I was there at summer was called off because the opponent had a cup tie. So there wasn't any game on, and I was looking forward to it. I even had to put my son into it. But the closest we got to the pilot field was on our way to Dover from my Uncle Stu, where I'd left my car. We drove past the pilot field, so that was the closest.
That's what you got.
Summer. Yeah. So hopefully in spring we'll be able, when there's no more cup ties left.
We could be playing at Wembley by then.
Well, yeah. If so, we're going to Wembley. Sure, I've been there before. So.
Right, then, boys. Well, first of all, like, obviously, you can run the week down. I was going to talk about the Burgess Hill win. First of all, a cracking win, 4-2. Some stunning, excellent goals in there. Obviously, a cheeky little chip from Ben Pope, and obviously Breffo, inspired by me, obviously took on the shot and made the shot, and we all loved it. Who wants to start on Burgess Hill game?
Apparently, I don't remember the games, so but I do remember Saturday. We are now entertaining, top quality. The goals we're scoring, even the team goals, passing goals are really good. And then we were absolutely treated Saturday to a good cup tie. It's a cup tie. You don't keep clean sheets that often in cup ties because teams come at you, they've got nothing to lose. So the fact that we conceded 2 goals to a decent Burgess Hill side is no problem really for me. And it's just about scoring more than them, innit? And we did. And really, it was comfortable. I know Louis made a couple of really good saves, but we looked like we could score 5, 6, 7 if we'd have needed to on Saturday. Yeah, really great to be in the next rounds and try ourselves against a team a bit higher up. So
who did we draw? We got Crawley, didn't we?
No, Chippenham Town.
Chippenham, that was it.
So Chippenham Town, the draw, bit funny, isn't it? Really, because we played them a few years ago. Yeah. They underestimate us in the cup.
Penny Pogue magic.
Yeah. few things went on there, so we'll see what happens in a couple of weeks' time. So yeah, it's an interesting draw.
Anyone else on the Burgess Hill game? John,
that Brefo goal was just nuts.
It took the breath away, didn't it?
He just strolled right through, didn't he? What a goal!
I don't know if you saw it, Rob. I don't know if John showed you, but there was a picture of the ball going in the net, and all of us are like, like behind the goal. It's really funny. We all look very silly, and but it's cracking effort.
That's a good wallpaper then.
Yeah.
Screensaver.
Yeah. Wills, anything on the game?
Yeah, I thought you had two dramatically good goals. I mean, Ben's finish was exceptional. What a perfect chip. And then Brefo's goal, amazing. But then you kind of have a look at that third goal, Pope's second, and the teamwork there.
Yeah, great team goal.
The people involved, the pin passing, and all towards that end product of Ben Pope putting it away. But so for me, it was like three really top quality goals. Very, very entertaining match. Just a real feel good factor around the Pilot Field through that one. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Hats off to the Burgess Hill fans too. They made a bit of noise, didn't they?
Bad. Yeah, a lot of others don't. So yeah, no, they were good. They were good. And just again, I want honourable mention really to like Kane Penn.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what a season he's having. Do you know what I mean? I mean, he's getting goals. He's got such confidence now to come forward as well. For someone who's was an under 23s regular really, and has just come in and really just anyone's going to struggle to get that shirt off him, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right, mate.
But what's quite exceptional is the practical side with him and Hasler. I mean, that's a nightmare to deal with. They the way they're interchanging and the pace between them both, and Hasler playing deeper, enabling us to make the most out of his crossfield balls. But they they're one's in front of the other, and then it swaps around, isn't it? It must be difficult to deal with tactically for defences.
Good win. Next round, nice little cup run, beautiful thing.
Oh, just one very quick thing. The prize money for the next round. Did you hear what that is? It's 3.5 for a win, and you get £1,000 if you lose.
Oh, nice one.
Apparently. So I don't know.
Worth having, isn't it?
Yeah.
New pair of Crocs for James Hull.
Yeah. And
just say, actually, staying on Burgess Hill, at the end of the Burgess Hill game, I stayed in the bar, and did James Hull walk in with the shiniest white Crocs imaginable. We sung to him, didn't we, George? But just beautiful pair of Crocs.
Isn't he on probation? He is, isn't he?
He's doubling down. He don't care. They were very shiny. Anyway, so let's move on to Billericay. The mind game started early with them not allowing us to get the drum in there. John, you didn't get there till the second half, so I think I'll go to George on this one. I'm going to speak on it, George, but anything you want to start off on with Billericay?
Just actually, obviously hated the result, like everyone here, but everything else I loved about last night. Just we made a really good atmosphere. The team fought really hard. A couple of chances, tight game. They're a team that's just come down from National League South. We're competing against them away on their surface, which is different to ours, in horrible conditions. And we were competing and we were there. It was an even game. And once again, there's been no game this season where we've been off the pace or anything close to that. Like, we're really competing in this division, and that last night really showed it. Also, their ground is excellent. There's clearly, obviously, some money was spent on it when Glenn Tamplin was there. Excellent facilities, really nice grounds, but it's not lost that non-league feel about it. Even though obviously they were high high in the non-league. Yeah, everything about that ground was great, apart from the card machine on the gate. But it was and one steward not letting a drum in. It's a bit
did
odd.
they actually give a reason why, George?
No. Apparently, they apparently called Rob French a dickhead, and obviously we know Rob French is a dickhead, but they don't know. So it's a bit unfair.
Poor old Rob.
If you want to call Rob French a dickhead, you got to spend some time with him first. So your opinion valid. So yeah,
Rob. Hang on. Rob organises the coach. Rob. Yeah, just so you know.
Yeah. So he's a self-confessed dickhead, but they don't know that, do they? So bit unfair. But there's I actually spoke to some people in the bar there, and old fella who's grew up in Hastings and now lives in Basildon, and they go to all the grounds around there. So we'll see him again at Canby. It's just it was a good experience up there. Shame we wouldn't go up there on a Saturday, really. So hope we play him again next season. But really enjoyed it. Players were really hard. Can't fault it, really. Couldn't fault it.
Well, not far be it from me to disagree with you, George. But
you're missing. You're like, oh no, it's not. If we're not winning 5-0, Chris, you're unhappy, aren't you? Moaning.
There we go. See, the narrative is being set up already. No, it's not that. I do feel that second half, I felt that we run out of ideas a little bit, and they really were good, Billericay, in terms of closing that game off. You know, I didn't feel like we were in it for like the last 20 minutes, half an hour, and that's down to Billericay. I thought they were very good. I mean, we were great shape. I thought, we did try. We changed formations a few times. You could see we were trying. It's just we just like that little bit extra, just to nick it. And that's going to happen. There's a lot of even teams here, and as you say, it's a team that's come down from the National League. And we're matching them. We haven't got the massive budget. We haven't got a massive squad. So I mean, it's very proud to have been there, to have seen it. I mean, they definitely tried to work their socks off.
It did sound like what you're saying is what that's how it came over from Adam's commentary as well. Almost like they ran out of ideas last 20 minutes. But
I did read a few comments on what their fans were saying about the game, about how quite a few of their fans thought it was the best they'd played all season, that they'd upped their fitness and they worked really well. I thought they defended really well. I thought it was a top defensive performance from Billericay, to be fair. And sometimes that's going to happen. Yeah. We won those 3-1-0 games on the trot that perhaps, could have drawn. It's going to go either way. That is what it is. We're used to sort of winning every week. It's going to be hard in this division. But their fans seem to think that they played very well last night. And they were in the National League South, and them saying that they had to play that well to beat us only 1-0. Says a lot. But they did beat us.
It was a nice goal as well.
It was a good goal.
The manager said the same. They do a post-match interview there, and he went into quite a lot of depth, and he was very complimentary about the Hastings setup and the team. And it did sound like it was one of their best performances. I listened to a bit. We couldn't get Adam's commentary, but while we were stuck for an hour on the M2 after an accident in front of us, we listened to the Billericay commentary, and
Hang on, you listened to the Billericay commentary instead of Adam?
We did. As I just said, we couldn't what we could pick up, and
unbelievable.
He was very good actually, but he was saying that how have Hastings got this drum in? Say that.
Oh, were they?
All you could hear at the background of the commentary was you lot singing. So that, and it sounded like a proper drum. But overall with the match, I thought, it was pretty. I think if there was one player that swung it their way, it was their number 11. I've not seen such a good player, opposition player for ages. John Ufo or something. I can't.
He was the one that Adam's raving about as well during the commentary. He said he was just controlling it all.
Down the right side, yeah?
Yeah, it sounded like.
Clean touch, and get the ball off of him, but going forward, he was as dangerous as anything. So, but overall, I enjoyed the second half.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm going to grass you up to Adam anyway, because he don't listen anymore, but I'm grassing you up. You weren't listening to his radio.
Oh dear! All right.
he did well, Adam. Actually, I mean, he sounded like he was really cold. Was it cold out there?
It's a little bit chilly, not.
It was cold.
Oh.
It was cold. It was obviously it was 25 degrees in Folkestone when we left, and then got up to Billericay. Yeah, it was really cold. It felt like we were in the north. It really did. North of the Thames.
North of the Thames, yeah.
No good for me. No good for me. Bishop Stortford, I'm going to have to get some sort of Arctic fleece and some husky.
It is cold. I've been there in November.
Yeah, nice that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so just to quickly mention, obviously the Billericay fans were clapping us in when they were walking out, so they obviously appreciated that we did get behind our team, which was good to see. It was definitely good to see.
They're quite a strong side out, didn't they? And the bench was strong as well.
Mm.
So it was, you know, like George said, I mean, they came down from last year. They got relegated, didn't they? So it's not a bad result, is it, really. You know, you want to win, but you didn't get stuffed or ashamed.
Yeah. No, definitely not. We weren't definitely weren't no shame in that defeat. But
it just, like we were saying last week, it just seems that whoever we seem to be playing at the moment, it's always seemed to be just a little bit above us in the form league. Because I'm not looking at the main league really much at the moment because it's still.
Yeah, that was their 5th win in a row, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you know the last 6 games for each team is far more important this time of the year than who's first, second, third. Mind you, Hornchurch, they're doing a business, don't they?
yeah, it's true.
They were down last night and they still bloody won. It'll come for us. We're not going to struggle.
We're not far off. Do you know what I mean? Like when we're winning games, we're doing it just about, or in style.
Yeah.
And when we're losing, it's, you know, little 2-3% here and there. You know, it's not like we're getting hammered. Do you know what I mean? So
I think it makes a difference. You've got you lot going away all the time as well. You know, you are a 12th man. I know it's an old cliche, but it doesn't make a difference to a team, doesn't it? And you've got a few fans behind you.
You hope so. You hope so.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure you ask all the players; they all say the same. So, I don't get there, but people like yourselves, you get there all the time, and they appreciate it. So
some of us get there in the second half.
Well, he still made the effort, didn't he? He had to go to the wall shop first.
Yeah, you getting that scarf made then, John? Are you?
Yeah, well, after the pants, yeah, you can't get claret and blue wool, you know, in the right shades.
Yeah. Right then, so we've talked about Enfield. Actually, you know what? I didn't even tell him about how we're going to get on. I said 2-0 Hastings to him for the programme notes. What do we think, chaps? Because Enfield are a good side.
Yeah,
it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game. What do we think?
2-2, I reckon.
2-2. George?
5-0 Hastings.
Is that all?
You're so negative. Rob, come on.
Is it a cup game?
No. League.
Oh, league game. Well, I mean, drawing away is always good, isn't it?
Mm.
But yeah, because they're not a bad side.
But not a goalless draw. So, going to be goals. It's going to be a draw.
Yeah.
That's it. Oh, nice one, Rob. Jono?
1-1 to us.
Doing it again, 1-0 to us. Yeah, right. Well, okay. Well,
there's a slight connection, isn't there, from Enfield and Hastings? Because, you know, Kenny Pope comes from Enfield and I think his dad played for Enfield. He always told us he did anyway, so.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I have one question. They actually did build motorcycles in Enfield. The name is from there, isn't it? Or is it somewhere else?
No, you're right. That's where they were made there.
Okay.
Didn't they do Enfield rifle as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, no, it's not going to be an easy game. But it's...
In terms of getting there,
train strike, isn't it?
Yeah, so the Who sung about it, the Magic Bus. And I think I'm going to be going on the Magic Bus if there's any space left. So It is the magic bus, isn't it, George?
Call it what you like. Rob French does a great job, mate.
Yeah.
Big up Rob French.
Even if he's
You should big up Rob after slagging him off. What? But George, you driving up or getting? You
Driving up.
Yeah.
Driving up, mate.
Quickly, let's talk about Corinthians. We've got Corinthian casuals in the cup on the Tuesday. The reason why I mention it is obviously the great Sammy Adams made his debut against Corinthian casuals as well. A little bit of a link. It's in the Velocity Cup. Yes, very good. Velocity Cup, which I'm presuming we're just going to play 23s with a smattering of first teamers.
There's a fiver to get in.
And it is a fiver to get in. So please, anyone, please come along. You know, particularly to see a chance to see some of our 23s, because we've got a cracking under 23 team that no one at the bloody club talks about. So, you know, they played some good stuff.
Yeah, they must be top of their league. They haven't lost any, have they? Don't think.
I haven't.
They seem to be. They won the other night again, didn't they? So
yeah, Hull keeps
Yes,
he's too good for the 23s, and he just needs a bit of luck in the first team.
They'll come. It'd be another Kane Penn, you know, just suddenly.
I certainly hope so, because he's a good lad.
Yeah, yeah, he is. Apart from the Crocs.
I mean, if we need to talk about those Crocs again, do we?
Got a great draw for the Sussex Senior Cup as well. Crawley at home.
Yeah,
we got something like 9 games this month.
Well, we got 5 home games in a row after Saturday. Crawley Town. I reckon it's going to be November the 15th. Looks like.
Yeah, that's it.
I always Senior Cup is something really worth winning. You know.
Oh yeah.
Kings of Sussex, and I think Crawley have put a half decent side as well.
Well, a decent enough side that Crawley can put out anyway.
I was going to say, have they got a half decent side then?
No.
Just very quickly to Robert.
World
Cup. We got to talk about World Cup wise.
I know 2 teams who won't be in the final.
Yeah, I think we can agree on that one.
Right.
Are they going to get out? Are they going to get out of the group this time? The Germans. You not got any tricky ties like Korea or anything, have you? Thought that happened to you.
I think they're playing Japan.
Banana skin.
I forgot actually.
It's a bit like ours.
Japan.
We keep forgetting who we're playing.
We've got like we've got Iran, haven't we?
We've got Iran and Wales and
we got minnows of football.
Oh, USA.
Well, actually, out of the 3 teams that we're playing, the only team where football is the biggest sport in the country is Iran. Because it's not in America or Wales, is it?
No,
so, got to respect
Spain.
Yeah.
Oh, you're in a group with Spain?
I think so, yeah. Spain, Japan, and another team. I can't remember. I'm not really in a World Cup mood. It's funny.
Same here.
No, I don't think anyone
3
is.
weeks before the World Cup, you're all excited and everything, but
I don't even know if I'm going to watch it for the first time, to be honest. Rather be at Pilot Field.
Well, we all say that, don't we? And in the end, we watch it. You know, at least the England games and the German games. You know, so
it just knocks the stuffing out of it when you think of this big fiddle about having the World Cup there. You know, just what a big con it was, wasn't it? Really,
Yeah.
Right. I'll tell you what, George, he's turning into the Gary Neville of this podcast. Have you noticed that?
It's like having a World Cup in the USA, isn't it? Who wants the World Cup there?
Well, it's going back there, isn't it? So
yes, right.
Every World Cup's been bought, isn't it? So it's not. I think anything different. I think in 2006, it was billed by a lot of people to be like the last decent World Cup in terms of fan-friendly, country easy to get around. And then it's proven so.
And was much cheaper then to buy a World Cup. You only had to pay a pensioner from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Well, not in 1966, Rob. We just played the linesman. We just gave him that Russian guy. He accepted that tanner.
You paid him in rubles, did you?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Azerbaijani. Even cheaper.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Just one thing.
Go
and
on,
you can
sir.
cut this out, Chris.
You don't know. Go on.
As you usually do when I speak on a podcast.
No, I don't. But yeah, go on.
I just want to say that behind the goal last night, even though we lost in the rain, those of us behind the goal singing had a really great time. And this is just a call out to anyone who's thinking about it. You may want to, who goes to away games and sits on the side and enjoys it. Anyone that's thinking about coming behind the goal, whether it's for them, come for a game, try it. Apart from Disney Map, most of us are DBS checked. It's all safe. Like, come behind the goal. I know some people who weren't behind the goal last season have come behind the goal this season and have said actually they enjoyed it and wasn't quite what they expected. And just they've had a good time. Just if we can get a couple more voices behind there, I think it might really help the team. So if anyone's thinking about it, come behind the goal, have a laugh.
Shuffle up gradually, 3 yards every game to and I think we take so many fans away, and it's brilliant. Just to get as more of a core of fans, I think would be so impressive.
Yeah, you could hear everybody last night. I mean, I didn't hear any Billericay cheering at all on the radio. Just you lot. Hats off.
Yeah, they were quite quiet. They were.
Yeah. And you didn't need that drum, you see.
We recycle everywhere we go, don't we, George?
That bin was excellent. I preferred it.
Man of the match.
Yeah.
Bin.
That's a they though. It's not a man. It'll be a they. Right. Then. Okay. Well, listen. Many thanks to Windy John, Robert, the 10 German bombers, the leader, Das Leader.
Third team is Costa Rica, by the way.
Oh.
I just looked it up.
Oh, you can't not get out of that group. Come on. Right. Yeah. Thanks for coming on, Rob, and we'd really love to see you.
You're welcome. Honestly, I'll try to make it happen in the spring break when we have spring break over here, and try to get car load full of chaps over, and it's going to be really fun. We're up for it. Yeah.
Because if you give us a bit of notice, I'm sure lots of us Hastings fans, we all meet up, we'll all go for a beer, we'll make a big day of it. You know what I mean? Because it's great that you're coming over. So, we'd like to do that. I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure. Yeah, exactly. And George, thank you, George, and Willsey, take care and see you at the game.
See you at the game.
See you later. See you, Robbie.